The Call of Duty 2024 season has officially come to a close. Optic has been crowned the champions of the Call of Duty League. Let's dive in to how that happened and the Call of Duty Champs weekend that we got to have. Optic Gaming, aka Optic Texas, have been crowned your champions after a 5-1 win over the New York Subliners. And as someone who went to champs, I just have to say real quick, shout out to Optic. The event was phenomenal, absolutely amazing. I thought the venue was really cool. Sure, you could have wished that there was a little bit more for the challenger setup. Preferably, I would just wanted a little bit more space so that people could be able to spectate the players while they were playing. Plenty of opportunities to meet everyone's favorite Optic players. Plenty of opportunities to get really cool gear. You got to meet a lot of cool people with the format of the arena. And then the seating was amazing. The stage that we had, but we'll get to that here in a moment. As you can see, world champions, Optic, Pred, Shotzi, Kenny, and Dashy, they bring it home. They're able to take care of business. This has been a long time coming for Optic, and Hex is so proud of them. He's thankful for it. He thanks the fans. He GG's Subliners. Subliners played an amazing tournament. They just fell short in the grand finals. Thanks to players for bringing it home. Look at this squad. I mean, this is an absolute unit. You can see you got Hex, Dashy. Shotzi was your MVP of the champs tournament. Kenny, probably the missing piece that this team could have. Pred, Coach, Karma, DB4 in the house, and JP. I mean, what a squad you got right here. I mean, absolutely legend. You got the green wall going nuts in the background. For me, myself, these are the seats that I was at for the majority of the beginning half of the weekend. I did spend a lot of time in the fan zone and maybe in different areas of the GA hanging out with homies that I've met. But the venue was amazing. The stage was awesome, as you can see. Being able to have it in the center of the arena, I think that was best for fan interaction. Because when you just have them on a big stage and they walk up to the edge of the stage, just imagine if this was a normal type stage, you only have the first few rows being able to be involved with the teams. But to have them be able to go through this walkout over here, it was honestly super incredible. And I was even able to get another really cool shot right here, as you can see. LAG's coming out, and I was able to get this shot because of the fan zone. So shout out Optic. Here come the boys. This was day one, their matchup against LAG. Dashy's locked in, and as you can see now, them being locked in now paid off, and they are your Call of Duty champions as well. We're not going to cover every single match today, but we are going to go through some of the bigger ones that we had. But here's the bracket that we ended up having for our major. I mean, some notable games. Thieves upsetting Ultra. New York and Surge, I thought, had a really good matchup. Surge will be a team I'll talk about in later videos, but very interesting how they could just go the distance with a bunch of teams, but they just don't have the ice. They cannot get over that hump. FaZe in New York had a really good matchup as well as the Thieves Optic. Probably one of the top three of the whole weekend. I mean, just game 5, game 5, game 5, game 5, game 5. That was the tone of the weekend. And when you're having this many game 5 matchups, it's just because everybody's playing their best. Everybody showed up to play. Well, I guess except a few teams that we'll go over. But it was absolutely amazing. Phenomenal weekend of COD. And I really hope that the CDL can take a lot of the momentum from the event side and run with it next season. And I really hope seeing teams like LA Thieves, even Miami, just make a little bit of a splash of some competitive level will help other teams that were not in that top 4 make moves that they need to make to get into the top 4. And let's have a more competitive league next year. Because the more competitive the league is, the better it is for all of us. Then we had some other matches, but the next one I really want to cover is the reverse sweep from Optic Texas. I think this right here, for me, this set the tone. This was I think this was probably the moment Optic was probably going to win the tournament. I mean, Thieves come out hot. They go up 250. I mean, they win 250 to 177 in hardpoint. They win a game 5 round 11, and it just looks grim. And you really think, okay, is this the moment? And honestly, after that round 11, it was not close. It was not close. It was not a moment where you thought Thieves maybe had it, and it was still kind of close. I mean, it was 100% Optic the rest of the way. 3-0, 250 to 169. It was 6-3, and that still, I guess, is relatively close, but it didn't feel that way. I mean, you kind of knew when they went game 5 that Optic was about to take this home, and Thieves were not able to handle the pressure. I think they have a phenomenal team. They might need to make 1 or 2 changes to get a little bit boost of just some experience. The thing with the Thieves is Ghosty is an all-star. He played amazing. Crimp had a really good weekend. He had some big pop-off moments. Joe Deceives had some big pop-off moments. Nasty did a lot of good things as well. So it's like you really don't know who you'd even make a change for exactly. And you would only make a change if you 100% are guaranteed getting a better player than you had. And I think some time for Thieves will be great. Just more chemistry, more experience. These guys are now placed pretty high in a champs, and some of them have not done that before. So I think it'll be able to help them out in the long run. But Thieves ran out of gas against Optic, got sent to the losers, and Optic advanced to the winners bracket finals from this matchup where they were able to play New York. But before New York could get there, they had to go through the Atlanta FaZe and were able to get that win. This was another moment where you kind of just felt that New York had it. So they win the hard point, FaZe wins the search, FaZe wins the control, and then we go into that Karachi hard point. And it was pretty close, but once again, when New York kind of won and it's tied and we're going to a game 5, you just kind of had that feeling like New York got this. As good as FaZe are, and I mean, you can look at my videos, I've gassed them up more than anybody. I had them as the champions. I had them as Major 4 champions, Major 3, I mean, go on. And you still, even then, just had this feeling when they get to this invasion search where it's just like, they just had this stink on it. You know what I mean? Like you just kind of knew, like, okay, this is it for them. And they could not handle the pressure on invasion shirts. And they could not handle the pressure on invasion search and destroy. I mean, Skies had some huge clutches on that map, getting the B-bomb plant and just running away. And you could clearly tell that FaZe was just kind of panicking a little bit. They were not able to handle the moment, I guess, as well as people might have thought they did. Skies handled it perfectly. And I would even argue cemented himself as a superstar in those moments. Like when it mattered, he stepped up and was able to have big 1v1s clutch. And that's something that you need to see in a superstar player. However, FaZe could not get it done against New York, and they dropped to the losers bracket after round 2. Very next series, the next day. It was the first series the next day. FaZe and Toronto played, and we had a 3-0, ladies and gentlemen. A 3-0, and it really wasn't close. FaZe did give the best effort they had in this series on the invasion control, but I mean, search and destroy in the hard point, it was not close. FaZe was getting ran, and it was absolutely ugly to watch. I mean, Toronto is just bullying them, doing anything they wanted, and this is so crazy to me because FaZe go out top 6, you make this big move for Draza. I was a believer, and I have evidence for it, that maybe dropping Slasher wasn't the best thing you could have done because, FaZe was ice in search and destroy. They needed that respawn slaying, but FaZe was ice in search and destroy last year in Modern Warfare 2. And their slaying went up. They won a lot of hard points this year, a lot of controls. They were probably one of the best control teams, but their search and destroy took a drop. You just wonder, do they really need that 4th slaying ability, the trio, or do they need that guy who can play a lot of objective, but also be really good in-game comms, be able to coach these guys in the middle of the match? Because the way I see it, it seems like FaZe makes an adjustment. The coaches come out, they talk to FaZe, make a game plan for the match, and then as soon as that game plan doesn't go their way, they're going to lose. If they are able to outgun you or their plan works, they're going to win. The moment they are not able to execute their plan and they can't just straight up gunning you, big teams like Toronto, New York, and even Optic, if it was this series, then that's when they fall. And so you really need that in-game leader to be able to make those adjustments. So I don't know what they're going to do. We'll talk about that in a later video as well. I could see them potentially breaking up the trio and kind of really starting fresh, which would be insane for the CDL, would send shockwaves amongst the free agency, because if someone like a Beezy or a Celium was open on the market, teams are definitely going to try to do something to make a move for those players. So who knows what could happen, but FaZe went top 6, Toronto stayed alive, and that was probably one of the bigger lost storylines, was FaZe going out top 6 in champs. You had your winners bracket finals where Optic secured their ticket to the grand finals. It was a back and forth series. This was also one of the best ones of the weekend. You had a close hard point, a round 11 in search. Optic took care of the control, a 5-point difference in hard point. That was an insane hard point. And then, as you might have thought, you see these moments, right? When you know a team is making a run, you see those glimpses of okay, sure, at this moment, it was tied. But when Optic came out and just started running New York, I mean, on Invasion, a map that they are really good at, dude, it was over. I mean, it was absolutely over. And it was not even close. I never thought New York was going to win that game 5 after seeing how it started off. I mean, Optic. And It was absolutely insane. Optic secures their ticket to the grand finals, the second one they've ever been in, and the only other one they ever were in was the 2017 World Championship that they won. And sure enough, if you thought Optic's not going to lose in the grand finals for COD champs, you are correct. They make it to the grand finals. New York makes their run, beating teams like Toronto, getting back into the grand finals, and it wasn't even close. It was absolutely ugly. 250 to 212. You could argue that was close. Around 11, you could argue it was close, but it was like this. I think the round 11 was the breaking point, because even though they won the control, Optic just came out, steamrolled them in Rio Hardpoint, pretty comfortably took them out in Search and Destroy Invasion, and then the control invasion was kind of like the big moment. That's where they won. It was tied 2-2. You're thinking like Optic's got to win an offense to win champs. Personally, look, I'm a guy that's like, Search and Destroy is the best. So when you're able to end or win champs on a Search and Destroy, there's no better feeling than that. However, take care of business on offensive round of control, there's also a pretty hype feeling to that too. So they were able to take care of it. Optic are your champions, as you can see here. It is absolutely insane. Many people doubted them. Many people thought they couldn't do it, but they were able to do it. Get this win. This is the best team Optic has put together since the Optic Dynasty. Many people are saying that. I agree with it. I think that all the roster changing rumors they had of, is Dashy this? Did Kenny work? First of all, I'm a guy where it's like, if you're doubting Kenny, then you don't know Call of Duty. You've got 3 players who are absolute gunny. They can gun anybody in the league talent-wise, but sometimes teamwork was slacking, especially between these two before these two arrived. Well, Pred wasn't recognized as the best teamwork player in the history of planet Earth before he got the Optic, but Kenny is the glue, man. He is the one who brings them together. Comms were great. He keeps them calm. He's that player I say FaZe needs, that guy who can coach in the game, kind of like make adjustments, make good call-outs, change it up. Hey, we're pushing B. We don't need to push B anymore. We need to wrap to A and a Search and Destroy. Hey, let's make sure we're rotating on the hard point. They need these kind of guys to where FaZe, this is FaZe's downfall, but dude, they never rotate. They never rotate unless they accidentally just spawn there. FaZe will chow the old hard point with 12 seconds left, and I guess just bank that they're going to break the hard point again. And I understand that if you're that talented, when you have Simp, Abizi, Celium, and Draza, you can, I guess, do that, but obviously you're top 6. So, I mean, you've got to do better. You've got to play the game. I mean, you just got to play the game. Even the best teams that have ever existed, the world champions right now, Optic Texas, they rotate. They rotate to the next hard point. We'll see. We'll talk more about FaZe and a lot of these teams of what they're going to be doing in the future. But for now, Optic Texas are your world champions. They are on top. I had a blast attending COD Champs. This was my first event that I've ever been to. So if I saw you there, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. If you did, or follow me on Twitter, you can follow me on Twitter in the link below. Just click in, go check it out. Thank you guys for the support on the channel recently. It's been absolutely amazing. I cannot wait to continue grinding Call of Duty content. We have an awesome roster mania ahead of us, especially leading up to the Esports World Cup. So make sure to subscribe, turn notifications so you do not miss a video every Monday and Thursday. 3 o'clock is when I upload a video. Thank you guys for the support. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.